Welcome back, commanders, to another video. And recently I have made a video comparing the Super Heavy and the MBT, and a lot of people have been asking me, what is the difference when attacking a base with a Liberty Howie and a Marty Howie? Now, I already know the answer to this, the same way I already knew the Super Heavy and the MBT results. But with the same as that, we're going to test just how much better is the Liberty Howitzer when attacking a base rather than using a Marty, because as we know, the Marty has more firepower, but yet the fortification damage is slightly different. So what do I mean by that is we'll go into the Marty Howie here, and if we click on the attributes, you can see that overall you got 542k damage to personnel and armor, but then what you also have is 1.35 million damage to fortifications. But this has a fortification damage of 250. And as you can see here, we've got 9.69 million overall firepower on the Howie. The way I've done this, guys, is I have 0 parts on, because obviously the parts for the Liberty are better than the parts for the Marty. So we're going to do this with 0 parts whatsoever, so that it's purely down to the unit alone. Now, if we head over to the Liberty one, again, 0 parts on here. The only thing we've got is the level of the unit and so on. So over here, we have 9.22, which is slightly less firepower than the Marty one. But if we go into attributes here and we look here, we have 1.59 million compared to the 1.35 million over there. So we have slightly more fortification damage, but we have a 300% bonus. Okay, which is a bonus multiplier of 300% instead of the 250 that comes with the Marty Howie. Now, this has 530k armor and personnel damage, and if we was to go over here, I believe this one is 542, so it's slightly above. So in both aspects, when it comes to shooting units, the Marty is obviously going to be slightly bit better, and it's going to do a little bit more damage. But when it comes to attacking a base, that's what we're really going to try and find out. So first of all, we are going to do the test without any officers on the 2 units. We're just going to see the core outstanding damage of each one. So we're going to do the first test here. It's so weird seeing this unit so small, 9.56. So we're going to do the attack right now, and we're just going to get, you know, the skill shot's not going to happen. So technically speaking, there really is no point. We're going to do 2 shots there. We put 2 shots in and we'll pull back. Now, the firing accuracy is definitely going to be different depending on each unit. Let's just triple check to see if the firing accuracy is the same on both units. Firing accuracy is 296 on the Liberty. Now, if we go over to the Marty, the firing accuracy is actually higher. It's 391. Now, the way firing accuracy works, which a lot of people might not understand this, so I'm going to do a very brief to help you guys understand. So when your Howies shoot their units, if we click here, they have here a firing accuracy. So this one is 39.22%. Now, if I go over here to this one, it is 48.2%. Okay, so what that means is your normal shot, if you was to do, say, 10 normal shots, okay, let's just say we do 1 shot, we pull back. We do another normal shot, we pull back. We do another normal shot, we pull back. The actual results are going to be different. Whereas a skill shot from an officer, for example, whenever I do my officer testing skills, if I was to do 1 shot with my skill and then pull back, and then do 1 shot with my skill and pull back, those results are going to be identical unless the skill involves crit. So, for example, there's a new officer here, the Madame Vindictive, for example. Her skill here has the ability to do a strike chance for skills. So her skill shot has a chance of hitting crit, which means she would do more damage. But if you look at any officer on here, most officers here, they just have a flat rate of, say, 2000 coefficient. So every time I'm hitting that base, it's going to be identical skill damage done every single time. That's why it's very easy to test officers, but when it comes down to your normal attack, it's going to be different every time. So as you can see here, my normal attack for my Howie was 2.49. Now, what we'll do is we'll do the exact same test again with the exact same unit, just to see if we get a different result because of that firing accuracy. So we'll do 2 shots like we did before. The first shot goes off, we reload, and the second shot's going to go off now. Now we'll pull back, okay? Now, in my eyes, the results for a lot of people will be like, oh, it's going to be the same results. But it's not always the case, because in that volley, not all of those shells register as a hit, okay? Because of the firing accuracy. That's why when you increase your firing accuracy, you're actually increasing the damage of the unit, because there's a chance you're going to hit more of those shots. That's why it's really important in your research to actually upgrade your firing accuracy along with, you know, the normal stuff. So let's wait for this battle report to come in, and we will also then get ready to do 2 shots with this one the same way we done it before. So here's the battle report, guys. So the first one here we had was 2.49 million. The second shot we done was 2.81 million. So as you can see here, even though we done the exact same thing, we're getting different results. Now we're using the Marty one, by the way. So we'll do 2 shots with this one, and then afterwards we will do 2 shots again. So there's your first volley, and there is your second volley. So now we'll pull back. So now that we're going to wait for that to come in, and we will do a second result. Now I will be bringing officers into it 100%. I just wanted to kind of show you guys the raw unit itself and the difference when it comes to attacking a base. Now, as we know, there is a higher firing accuracy on the Marty Howie. There is also higher firepower on the Howie. The only thing that's different when attacking a base is the fortification damage. Now, the fortification damage is a 250 for the Marty, and it is a 300% bonus damage for the Liberty Howie. So let's check it out. As you can see, the normal shot does more damage. Okay, so we have 3.27 compared to the 2.81 and the 2.49, and that's purely down to the fact that the normal shot has higher firing accuracy overall, so you're hitting more shots. But once you include skill officers, that's where you're really going to see the difference between those multiplications. So we'll do one more, guys, with the Marty, just to kind of skip that sort of average, and then afterwards we will be doing the skill shots where we can record the exact information that we need. So there we go, we got 2 shots in. Now we pull back, and we'll be able to see the fact that they're going to be very similar in results, but obviously they will differ a little bit. Now we could, for example, hit the exact amount of shots we did in that first one and get the same result. It's not impossible, but when it comes down to it, as I said, if you was to do 10 shots, okay, every single result could be different. Every single result could be the same. I've had it where I've tested it and the results have been the same for about 5 in a row, and then we got something different, and then we got something different for the rest of them. So it definitely is just, it's kind of random, just depending on how many the volleys actually hit. So as you can see here, we did 3.51, and in the first one we done 3.27. Right, now what we're going to do is we're going to add an officer on. So we're just going to go for the normal officer attack when attacking a base. We're going to get Futurus and I on here. So now that we've got Futurus and I, let's quickly do another test just to see the difference when it comes to officer skill damage. Now, I am genuinely, of course, expecting the Liberty to do better, but after seeing those first results, you might think, you know, so there's the first skill and there's the second skill, then we'll pull back. Now, on this one, guys, we are not, okay, we are not going to be judging the actual damage of the normal shot, because sometimes, for example, as you may know, when it comes down to research, guys, a lot of yous probably do already know this, but for example over here, God of War, guys, when your artillery attacks, there is a 10% chance the next load time will be reduced by 40%. So this means when I shoot, as you've seen a lot of times, obviously you have the 4, 3, 2, 1, and it fires. Once it is fired, there is a 10% chance that it will only take 1 second to then fire again. So let's just say with my Liberty Howie, I get that 1 second, the 1 second during me charging my skill officer. That normal attack will be higher than if, for example, we got 4 seconds and then 2 seconds, then 2 seconds, because you're getting double the amount of damage output. So we're not going to be judging off of the normal shot. We're going to be judging off of the skill damage, because the skill damage theoretically should be the same each time. So as you see here is 25.1 mil. So let's just do one more. obviously, we're going to be doing more than one attack with the same unit and the same officers to show you what I mean. So now if we go in here, we do the attack again. We'll do 2 skill shots and we'll pull back. So, for example, there, that took 3 seconds. There's the first skill shot. There's the second skill shot. Now, I don't know if you noticed there, but in that time, it took 3 seconds to do my second shot, okay? And then it took 3 seconds again. But in the first one, it took 1 second and then 1 second. So that way, we're actually getting much different results when it comes down to the normal shot, okay? So we're going to wait for this to come in, and what we'll do is we'll switch over these officers over onto the Marty Howie, just to see the big difference here between the two. So here's the report, guys. Now, as you notice, we had more damage in that first one. So we went on for 25 seconds, and this is 25 seconds. So we're 25 seconds on both, okay? Now, as you can see here, the skill damage is basically identical. It can't be explained why they're different, because if you actually go into these officers, there is nothing here that increases it by chance. There is no chance things over here, okay? And if we go to I, there is nothing here that has a chance of dealing more damage. You literally should only be dealing the same amount of damage each time. So it begs the question, where are they getting these different reports from? So technically you'd be like, Scopes, you lied to us. It's not always the same damage. It's almost identical damage when it comes to the skill thing. And it doesn't make sense as to why they're any different whatsoever, because there is 0 skills within Futurus and within Eye of Providence that actually give a chance of something. They're all pure mathematical stats, which means it should be the exact same results every time. And this is one thing we've brought to Lilith before. Now, could that mean that the skill shot is taking advantage of the firing accuracy? Maybe, but I very much doubt it. It's never been, you know, speculated that that's a thing, and realistically, it just goes off of the firepower of your unit. So, with that being said, as you can tell, the difference between these two normal attacks is always going to vary depending on 1, the load time, and 2, the firing accuracy. That's why it's really hard to test when you're talking about the normal shot. But the skill shot is a lot easier. It's around that 25 million. So you got 24.9 and 25.1. On average, that means it's 25 million exactly. So now we're going to test out when we use the Marty Howie to see just how much of a difference there is when it comes to attacking the base. So let's start this up right now. I predict from experience that the Liberty one should be better. So there's the first skill shot. There's the second skill shot. Now we'll pull back. So we've got both of them skill shots in. Obviously, we will do a second run to try and get an average of the two. Maybe we need to do even more, you know, skill shots with each of them to get a more broader average. But I'm pretty sure, you know, maybe we'll do a third attack, maybe even a fourth attack with both units. That was, again, with the Marty Howie, using the exact same officers in the same, you know, it doesn't matter who's leader, by the way. I actually want to clear this up. A lot of people I see commenting on almost any video that I do that involves howitzers and involves Eye of Providence. They see this skill and it says increases the officer skill boost of this officer's troop against hostile bases by 40% when leading an artillery troop. Now, when it says leading, it simply just means being on the howitzer. But a lot of people mistake this for it has to be in a captain spot. Like, it has to be here at the front. Now, if you was to look at Argent, for example, his skill says if serving as troop captain. Okay? So, leading a unit just means being on the unit. If it says it needs to be a captain, that means it has to be in the first spot. So whether you have Eye of Providence on the first or second spot, he's still going to get that skill in, okay? Now, if you have a look here, this confirms it. Increases troop firepower by 30% when deployed as a captain, and the same here for the HP. The captain is the first spot. So unless it states it has to be a captain, it doesn't matter where on the unit it goes. Just want to clarify that. A lot of people have been asking. So now that we jump in, as we can see here, we have a 21.4 million with the Marty Howie. So again, we're going to do one more attack here with this. In fact, we'll do 3 attacks with this, and we'll go and do one more attack with the other one. So Let's quickly attack here. Let's get the 2 skill shots in. So remember, look at this number here. Ready? Boom, 3 seconds. And then boom, 1 second. Now we got the 2 skill shots off. And as you saw, because of that 1 second, we got an extra volley in. If that went to 3 seconds, we would never have got that extra volley in, which means a lot less damage. So that's why it's very hard to actually show you guys the damage of the normal shot, because the fact it's very RNG as to whether or not you're going to get a 1 second recharge or a 3 second recharge. But with the skill shots, they're always 9 times out of 10, always the same amount of damage each time. So we're going to wait for this report to come through. Here it is. And we have, again, 21.4. Identical numbers, okay? So as you can see, identical numbers. But we got an extra volley in on that first one. So you see here the difference in damage. We only got 2 shots off with this one, okay? But with this one, we got a lot more shots off. So that's something that you need to... And the firing accuracy would have been a lot higher on this as well. So that is something you do need to take into consideration. They were both 24 seconds. But look at the damage difference between the normal attacks, because there's so many random factors that come into play with it. Whereas the skill damage, it's a constant every single time. So 21.4. Let's do one more attack. We'll do a 3rd attack right now with this officer, and then we'll go back to the Liberty one, and we'll do one more attack over there just to see about that sort of 25, whether it's 24.9 or 25.1. See if we get the same result again. So here we are. We're going to do another attack here with the Marty. But overall, as you can see, when it comes to officer skill damage, you just get so much extra damage when it comes to using the Liberty when attacking a base. Now, you've got to remember, guys, the units I'm using right now have absolutely 0 parts on it, okay? They have no parts. Now, if I was to put the parts on, you're going to get very different results because the firepower is going to be crazy higher. Now, the only way I can really test it is I'll put these parts on. I'll leave this firepower part off because obviously this firepower is much greater than this firepower. So what I'll do is we'll do one test and we'll get a rough estimate of the difference when it comes to increasing that firepower a little bit. So here's the battle report. 21.4 again. Exact numbers every single time. 21.4, 21.4, 21.4. This is why I love testing with officer skills, because you genuinely are able to get a much more accurate understanding of the scale of output damage. Okay, so now we're going to go back up to here. We're going to get the Futurus and we're going to get I one more time, and let's have a look here. We're going to put this here, this here. Now let's get ready to do this attack again, and as I said, we should receive the same sort of result as before. So there's the first skill shot going off right now, and there is the second skill shot. Now we'll pull back. We'll retrain them. I just want to say thank you to everyone who's been asking me to, to investigate these sort of things. I'm more than happy to help do the testing for you guys. But I hope you guys are also enjoying these sort of videos. Please let me know down below if there's any other form of testing that you want. If I have the ability to do it, I would love to. But again, guys, I don't have a test account, which means, for example, if I don't have the unit, I can't test it. A lot of people have been asking me, can you test the difference between tanking a base with the 3 different infantries, the Marty, a Vanguard, a Liberty? I just don't have 2 of those units. I only own a Marty infantry. I don't own a Liberty one. I don't own a Vanguard one. I'm not able to test the difference between these things unless I had a test account. So unfortunately, I don't have the privilege of having that. So maybe one day we'll get that, but I very much doubt it. So with that being said, guys, let's see the report here again. So we have 24.9, okay? And if we go down here, we had 24.9, and then we had 25.1. So the 25.1, I'm not sure, but we got 24.9 and then 24.9 again. So we'll do one more final one, guys, just to kind of clarify, is it 24.1 or is it 25.9? So boom, let's do one final attack and we will see the difference. So one thing I want to mention, guys, is you got to remember as well, there's no parts on here or anything, but at a difference, you might be thinking it's only a couple of mil difference, right, between the 2 skills, right? So for example, here with it being 24.9 and this one being 21.4, that's not a lot of difference. But when you scale it up with the different skills on, for example, you've got all your different parts, you've got your different additional skills, you've got your additional wrenches, that is where you're going to see that multiplier. The gap's going to widen the more and further you go up, okay? So what I mean by that, let's quickly check it. We got 25.1 again. So with the Liberty Howie, it seems that we're getting two different results, but they're almost identical, okay? They're almost identical, but we are getting two different results, and I'm not too sure about that. Maybe you guys in the comments could let me know where we're getting this results different. But of course, with the Marty one, it's identical all the way through. So maybe there's something that's changing it up for the Liberty. But as you can see, it's basically identical. Now, we're going to do one final attack. I know this video is going on for a little bit, but I just want to show you the scale difference to the best ability I can. For example, let's just put on this part here and this part here. It's my two highest parts, okay? We're going to chuck this on, and we're just going to put the wrenches to 100, okay? We're just going to put the wrenches to 100 for this test. So now we're going to do one more attack with this, okay? And then we'll also do one more attack with the same parts and the same 100 wrenches over on the Marty, and we'll see the difference between them. So we're going to get the first skill shot off here in a second. There it is, one. And the second skill shot there. Perfect. So we'll pull that back. We'll put the officers over here. And there's Eye of Providence. And we need to then go over here, put the parts on. So here we go. We've got the parts. We're going to put the main part on. And we're going to put the second part on. And we're also going to put those wrenches to 100. Exactly the same. Now that that is done, we've got the exact same parts on. We're going to see what the difference is when it comes here. So let's quickly check the results. So the results here are not that crazy different. It's only now 28 million. Okay, it's only 28 million right now. So let's just see what the difference is when we use the Marty one. Of course, it's going to change a lot once you get all of the parts on and everything, and your 9.2 and so on. So the difference will be much higher at those greater levels. So now we'll quickly do one attack here. We'll get these two skill shots off, and we'll kind of see what the difference is between the two. So boom, there's the first shot, and there's the second shot. Now we'll pull back, and we'll get this final result. As always, guys, if you do enjoy these sort of videos, please think about hitting the like button. I'd really, really appreciate it. Thank you for all the love and the support. 2,800 subscribers already. You guys are crazy. I love you all, though. I hope you've been enjoying these videos. Let's quickly see what this final result is, and let's just see what the difference is between the two when we have one set of parts on. Now we have 24 mil. So as you can see here, we had 24.9, 21.4. It's only a little bit of a difference, okay? It's actually going to be 3.5. Now, if we was to go up here, we have 24 and 28. We now have a 4 mil difference. But take into consideration, guys, the 24.9 mil was what we dealt with the Liberty Howitzer with 0 parts on it. Now, a Marty Howie with parts on it still doesn't deal that amount of damage. Okay, so with that being said, it just goes to show the big difference between when attacking a base. Now, of course, these numbers are small. We don't have a massively strong unit right now. We're just using this for a prime example. Of course, if you was to have all the parts on, for example, like all the maxed out firepower parts, if you was to have your wrenches maxed out on the modern, and then if you was to have it all the way up to 9.2, the difference at that end of the scale of things is going to be great. So, of course, I would love to test and show you the difference between having a Marty Howie for defense and a Liberty Howie for defense. But it's, again, it's one of those things that are really hard to test because a lot of the damage is coming from those normal shots. And as we know, the Marty does have better normal shots. It also deals more firepower. It also deals more damage to units as a whole unit itself. It deals more damage to personnel and armor. So we know for a fact, the way that we know the Liberty is a better Howie when attacking a base, it's the same when it comes to defending. The Marty Howie will be slightly better, okay? So overall, guys, it depends. If you're someone who is a more offensive person, you're always attacking bases, definitely go with the Liberty Howie, okay? But it's nice to still have a Marty Howie in your lineup, especially if you're going to be using some really strong combos. For example, like having pretty much one of the best combos for free-to-play player is going to be this when it comes to getting kills on units and defenses. Putting that on your Marty Howie with all your maxed out stuff is going to be your best option. But sometimes it's a lot easier just to put them on your Liberty, where you'll still get a lot of kills as well. The difference won't be too crazy, but you'll definitely get more kills with the Marty when it comes to killing units, the same way you get more damage on a base when attacking using a Liberty versus a Marty. Hope this video has helped you all, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. I appreciate each and every single one of you. Please let me know down below if there's any kind of testing you want to see, and if I have the ability to do it, I will do. Have a beautiful rest of your day, guys, and I'll see you all in the next video. Take care, everyone.